Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag, and I don't even have my banner up. There we go. How you doing? April, this is some of your finest work. Where are we here? For the people on the pod, we're starting at lunchtime. Ooh, Wine Niners, Wine got a cat, kids, wife. It's never the wife. The wife is never up this early. Never the wife. No, good morning, everybody. Sorry for the tardiness, and this is dealer time. Oh, this is like a dealer would call this late. 6:49 in the a.m. I woke up this morning and I was just doing my normal show prep, putting things together, cutting up pieces and all that stuff. Excuse me. And I realized that there was a locker room session that happened yesterday, and I didn't even see a lick of it. And I can't do a show unless I watch that. So I watched that. That's why I'm so late today. Nice to see you either way. My apologies. That is my mistake. I watched Jalen Hurts yesterday. I watched Nick Sirianni, and I looked for the locker room post. And it wasn't up yet. So I watched A.J. Brown. And, of course, I saw A.J. Brown. That's what caught my eye in the thumbnail. And I went, oh, okay. If you guys don't know, there's a thing called Philadelphia Eagles press conferences on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel, and that's where I just watch the locker room sessions and whatnot in case you ever want to watch it for yourself. And I'm like, oh, it's A.J. Brown. Okay. So I watch A.J. Brown, and I think he spoke for maybe 8 minutes. And I go, oh, this is interesting. The first minute of it, he talks about how he feels healthy, which to me is still the most important thing. If there's a main thing with just A.J. Brown, it's whether or not he's healthy. It's not whether or not he's reading books on the sideline. So he says he's healthy, and then he talks about how he was open. And I'm like, okay, because that's kind of been a story that has come out this week that he wasn't open. And a couple of those places that I saw, yeah, he certainly wasn't open. But he's always open. So we talk about that. He talks about that. And then, unfortunately, for a lot of it, he talked about the book. And I told you guys yesterday, I'm over the book. I don't care who you are. I'll never not like somebody doing something other than football on the sidelines. I just won't. I won't like it. So to me, it's not even an AJ thing. It's just a general thing. Just like I explained, I don't like it if you're talking to somebody and that person's just like glancing down at their cell phone. Like, concentrate on the task at hand. I know that's what he needs for that moment to draw focus, but all right, fine. I'm done with it. I like A.J. Brown. I hope A.J. Brown's here for a long time. If you guys haven't heard, little rumors started up because Mike Vrabel talked about how far A.J. Brown came along and all that stuff. I want A.J. Brown here for a very long time. Don't get it twisted. So being that most of that media session yesterday was about the book, unfortunately, not a lot of it meant much to me. The Rams are a different team than they were in Week 12 when the Eagles faced him. A.J. talked about that, but all right. The important thing is whether or not he feels healthy, and he says he feels pretty healthy. Also, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. addressed the media. He also said something that I really liked. Zach Bond taking him under his wing. And I don't like when people get misquoted, and if I misquote somebody, I always try to correct it either, as soon as I realize it. But I don't think Vic Fangio said, like, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. starting or Jeremiah Trotter Jr.'s future is now. I believe he said maybe it's now. We'll listen to it together. But people are acting like no, it's now. And I hope it is. Look, if I'm rooting for somebody to be the starting linebacker opposite Zach Bond, cards on the table, I'm rooting for it to be Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And yes, because it's a great story. I would love to see him. First off, as long as he earns it, and that's the other thing. Vic Fangio's not just going to be like, oh, his dad played? Cool. You're the starter now. No, that's not it. Vic Fangio, one of the first things he said that I absolutely loved was, other than, the typical that we, one of the first things he said was, and then the second thing he said was, he doesn't pick the starters, the players pick the starters. The cream rises to the top, and all he has to go is, there it is. There's the cream. It's at the top. There it is. So if Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is starting, it's because Vic Fangio feels as if he is the best possible candidate to start in place of Nakobe Dean. So I don't got to worry about that when it comes to Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He talked about his preparation this week, talked about Zach Bond taking him under his wing, talked about what Nakobe Dean had to say to him. And I'll just let you know that because it's pretty easy. Be yourself. Just go out there and be yourself. You get the opportunity knocks. Go out there, be yourself. Be the best version of yourself. Those are some things that got talked about in the locker room session. Nothing else really jumped out to me after that, unfortunately. But the two guys that I did watch yesterday were Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. And here's what I have taken away from this. The line of questioning surrounding Jalen Hurts and the topics surrounding Jalen Hurts on social media. Last year, the last 6 games of the season, including the playoffs, I feel like that set us back 3 years. I feel like we're back in the conversation during a 14-win season, during another playoff appearance season, during another playoff win season, and now 1 win away from the NFC Championship game. I feel like we're back in the conversation we were having 3 years ago. Yeah, but is Jalen Hurts the guy? Is Jalen Hurts the guy? Yeah, but is he the guy? Like I hated that. I went at the time before Jalen Hurts went on that MVP caliber run in 2022, before he took the Eagles to the Super Bowl in 2023 calendar year, right? Before that, I was like, I'm in. I want this guy to stick around. And what sold me on him, in case you've never heard me say this before, was when all the conversation was going on about Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. Wow, what a bullet the Eagles dodged there. Russell Wilson, all that. Jalen Hurts continued to say throughout the entire process, I'm above it all. And he didn't do it in an arrogant way. He did it in a, this is for you guys to talk about. Meanwhile, I have a dream and a career to live out in the NFL. And I'm not going to spend it. Now, this is what I got out of him saying I'm above it all. And I'm not going to spend it thinking about whether or not the Eagles and Howie Roseman are going to go trade or acquire 3 other veteran quarterbacks and have them start over me. And then a story comes out later about how the Eagles literally almost had Russell Wilson. And he was like, nah. I don't know if almost had, but made the play. They did make a play. The report came out to get Russell Wilson. And still Jalen Hurts like, yeah, whatever. Just going to do my thing. Any bad things between him and Carson during Jalen's rookie year? He was above it all. He just went out there and worked. And I always tell you, I don't bet against people that have a little bit of talent and a huge work ethic. And that's Jalen Hurts to me. And I feel like I have learned more about Jalen Hurts this year. Really, this is the most I've learned about him ever since his rookie season. That's how big this gap has been in terms of the learning process about Jalen Hurts, because he is exactly what he says he is. And one of the worst times, and I was technically in the business at the time in 2005. That was my first year as like a actual media person. But I'll never forget the turmoil between Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens, and it's shaped a lot of my thinking and my thought process surrounding many players. That's why I think A.J. Brown is treated so harshly by a lot of people all the time, because they're terrified of, oh, this could happen again. I think maybe that's in the mind of Jeffrey Lurie at times as well. That's why the one thing that did come out with that whole Howard Eskin thing at Chickies and Pete's was get him off the air. I totally believe that part of the story. Jeffrey Lurie texting Howard and saying, yeah, get him off the air, when Brandon Graham was giving the goods on A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I believe that. Absolutely, I believe that. Because I think Jeffrey Lurie doesn't want to start stirring that pot of quarterback versus wide receiver, because that doesn't help anybody. But that has certainly shaped my thinking when I think about wide receiver and quarterback. But when it comes to Jalen Hurts, one of the things I absolutely loved and one of the things I really learned this year is that he is exactly who he says he is, which is the main thing is the main thing. And I know that gets eye rolls from people now, but when you have a quarterback that has helped you go 37-10 as a starting quarterback over the last 3 years, that's pretty good. That's really good. That's really, really good. He's, since his rookie year, never had a losing record as a starting quarterback. And that's starting quarterback. That's not games he started and finished. You know what I mean? I want Jalen Hurts to be here for a long time, and all the doubt cast upon him this year. Like I get it after the Green Bay game in Brazil. 2 interceptions, 3 really bad decisions. It could have cost the Eagles the game, and you're coming off the heels of last year where he was going at an alarming rate. I think it got up to something like 25 turnovers in 23 games or something like that. That's a lot of turnovers. And now he has obviously corrected that. He has corrected that while helping his team to another 14-win season. Oh, yeah, that's right, another. The second time they've won 14 games in a regular season. Both those times you've had some backups go out there and get some dubs as well. One time they got a dub this year, actually. But this team's pretty damn good with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. So if you mean to tell me that you have a quarterback that has led you to the playoffs twice, now 4 times, if you mean to tell me that you've had a quarterback that has taken you to a Super Bowl already, if you mean to tell me you've had a quarterback that's been an MVP, 2022 MVP candidate, last year up until that San Francisco 49ers game was the leader in the clubhouse to be the MVP. If you mean to tell me you got that guy, and now that guy is saying, oh, I'm totally fine with taking a step aside because I got Saquon Barkley running behind a Jeff Stoutland offensive line, yeah, I want that guy here. And that's ultimately what I've learned about Jalen Hurts this year. It's that he is exactly what he says he is. He's all about winning. He's all about winning. That's it. What's the stat that you focus on? Is it passer rating? No, even though it happens to be the highest of his career. Is it completion percent? No, even though it happens to be the highest of his career. What's the stat you focus on here with Jalen Hurts? 37-10. That's the stat I'm going to focus on. That's the stat Jalen Hurts is focusing on because it's the only one that matters. That is 37 main things and 10 other main things. You won or you're lost. Or you take it the other way, as Jalen also likes to say. You either win or you learn. Super Bowl loss, unfortunately, was a learning experience. He continues to learn. Yesterday, he was asked about the drastic shift in leading rushing team, like dead last in passing or 29th in passing in the NFL now. He was asked about that yesterday. He was just like, yeah. The expression on his face is like, you guys realize I don't care about this, right? You keep asking me about it. I don't care. Did we win 14 games? All right, great. Did we just win a playoff game? That's pretty cool. Are we playing another playoff game? Yeah. All right. We 1 win away from the NFC Championship game. I was done with the is Jalen Hurts the guy BS. And even last year and the beginning of this year, when he was going through all the turnovers and the team was just going in the tank, even then I was like, okay, this is a phase. It's not just Jalen. It is everybody. It's coaching. You're 10-3 and you demote your defensive coordinator. Nothing is going right. I'm not going to put all that on Jalen. And rightfully so, because he's certainly bounced back this year. And he has absolutely been 1,000% clutch this season. So you'll hear from Jalen Hurts. Nick Sirianni talked about Jalen Hurts reversing course in terms of the turnover battle as well. So we'll get into that. Jalen gave his self-evaluation, his performance against the Rams, how they try to take away Saquon Barkley. That's a fun one. And but not Rain. Yeah, see, I wrote it down too fast. I was in a hurry. I apologize. Yeah, so we'll get into all that during the show. Also, the 76ers, congratulations. You might look at the win-loss. You might look at the schedule with the Sixers and see 3 consecutive red L's with the Sixers. But if you really look, you'll see back-to-back moral victories. This is the team that produced back-to-back moral victories. So Joel Embiid didn't play last night. Shocker. Paul George played. Paul George played well. Didn't like that closeout he had of Jalen Brunson in overtime. I'd rather him not do that. So please don't do that, Paul George. Tyrese Maxey had 6 points at halftime. He didn't score at all in the first quarter. He only played 6 minutes because he got 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game. Then he has 33 points on the night. That obviously he'll do the math. 27 points in the second half and overtime. Justin Edwards continues to be my man, pots and pans. 8 of his 10 points in the fourth quarter. I like that Justin Edwards guy. 35 minutes overall in the night. So I like that Justin Edwards guy. Sixers lose in overtime to the Knicks. Sixers came out firing in the third quarter. And it felt like for the majority of the game, the Knicks were up 10 points. Like, it just always felt like Sixers would make it, like, cut the lead to, like, 6 or 4. And then the Knicks would get, like, 2 threes. And then all of a sudden they'd be up 11 or 12 points, whatever it was. And then it felt like 10 points was the average they were up. Until Tyrese Maxey and Justin Edwards went bonkers in the fourth quarter. Forced overtime. And the Sixers just, in the words of Harry Callis, ran out of gas. So they lose. But the big story for me, 2 of them during the game, were Karl-Anthony Towns wearing an Eagles shirt while sitting on the bench. Then Jalen Brunson gets asked about the Eagles shirt Karl-Anthony Towns is watching on the national broadcast. And Jalen Brunson said, no, he rolls with Karl-Anthony Towns. Go Birds. He doesn't say go Birds, but that's what I heard. So he says he rides with Karl-Anthony Towns. Second half, Karl-Anthony Towns comes out in a Knicks-themed shirt that I believe he borrowed from a teammate. So the Knicks didn't like that, I don't think. And I think they had Karl-Anthony Towns change, which is hilarious to me because that's what you're going to be concerned about. By the way, I also had the thought last night of how much the Knicks are going to love their new arena in South Philadelphia. Because the first shot went down last night, and I heard all Knicks fans. And you heard the Sixers fans, too, as the night went on. But I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those nights. Cool. So that was one thing that jumped out to me. The other thing was Doris Burke asked a question. Or she didn't so much ask a question as much as it made a statement. I asked the question. But I asked the question last week on the 76ers postcast about whether or not you guys care about the Sixers. And this was before they reversed course and just used the city as a pawn and went right back to and stayed in South Philadelphia. That was before I asked. So I asked the question and then that happened. So how do you feel now? Because Doris Burke put this out there during the national broadcast. I usually watch local, but when it's a national game, every once in a while, I like to watch the national broadcast, get the national perspective of what's going on here, you know. And boy, am I glad I did, because Doris Burke, in the beginning stages of the second quarter, I think, put it out there saying, I don't know how to describe Philadelphia's feeling towards the 76ers right now. And she referenced, just listening to actually Spike Eskin's podcast, Rights to Ricky Sanchez. She referenced Kyle Neubeck, referenced Talk Radio. And she said, I don't know how to describe it. So I asked the question on social media. I asked the question on Twitter, X, whatever. How do you guys feel about the Sixers? How would you describe it? And the word I've used is apathy. Apathy, I think, is set in when it comes to the 76ers. And now it's more along the lines, I think, of rage. You've been duped. You bought into something that didn't pay off. Maybe your emotions were inflamed over the stadium controversy. I think now it's less apathy and more rage when it comes to surrounding the 76ers, if you had to describe your feelings towards them. So what is your feeling towards the 76ers right now? What would best describe it? I'll read for you some of the best. I'll give you one. I forget the gentleman's name, but I'll get to his name. But my favorite one, I think, was the GIF. I was sent the GIF of Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive, which, if you haven't seen it, goes way back, but you gotta go see it, or you gotta see it. It's the very famous line from Tommy Lee Jones, I don't care. I think that's how a lot of people feel. And then the Sixers, of course, in the game, go on a fantastic run after that. I'm like totally into it. But yeah, they lose both games of the back-to-back against the Oklahoma City Thunder and the New York Knicks. But what's the word you would use? Hit me up in the chat. What's the word you would use? How would you describe your feelings towards the 10-9-8 76ers right now? Yeah, so that's what we got on the show today. We're going to have ourselves a good time. First and foremost, let's start it off with Jeremiah Trotter Jr., because I want to set the record straight here. A lot of people are putting words in Vic Fangio's mouth about Jeremiah Trotter Jr.'s future. Here's what Vic Fangio said. I played this yesterday, but just to reiterate, because I think some people are taking and running. Here he is on Jeremiah Trotter Jr.'s future.
Yeah, I think Trot's got a good future, and that future may be now.
Maybe now. Okay. There was a maybe in there, so I wasn't crazy. I thought it was might, but he said maybe. So, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. get asked about the vote of confidence. Love the vote of confidence from Vic Fangio. It means the world. It means great. I love it. It's really fantastic. What has he been doing this week to prepare as the starter? And is he expecting to go out there and be the starter?
Well, I mean, right now I'm just trying to prepare I need to prepare, just to make the most of any opportunity that I get. I'm not really, worried about it. That's really up to the coaches and everything. But right now I'm just trying to make sure I prepare. And when, if I get in there, make sure I do my job to, for my guys on the defense and just on the other side of the ball to try to make impactful plays to help the team win.
Hey, all right. Said all the right things. Good for him. So that takes care of that story. This is before I want to get to all the stuff with Sirianni and Hurts himself. But also, big story this week was A.J. Brown. The only thing that really matters with A.J. Brown is how he's feeling. But tell me if you catch what I caught in this. Here it is.
Yeah, I felt fine after the game. Came out clean and, just how the part of the game. I'll be out there tomorrow. So.
Did you feel like yourself out there on Sunday, or did you feel like the knee impacted you at all?
No, I was fine, moving around fine. I was open. And, I was cool.
How does the plan come together when you're kind of managing an injury throughout the week?
Really just depends on just how I feel on a day-to-day basis. I communicate that with my training staff, and they tell me to, these are the periods that, you can do and just shut it down, because most important is about the game, so.
Do you miss that practice time? I mean, is that something that...
Yeah, I miss it because, I'm a work junkie. I love to work, and, and that's the way I try to get better at, and that's where I get better at. And as you saw before the game, I did like a whole individual myself, just get going. Some things I missed before during the week, I try to get it right before the game. So.
Yeah, all right. He's feeling healthy. Did you catch that, though? Hey, AJ, how you feeling? I feel good. Things are coming along well. How would you feel when you were running around out there against the Packers? I feel good. I was running around. I feel good. I was open. Say what now? Rewind. I was open. Oh. Okay. Now, I'm not saying this is a negative. I'm just pointing it out. I always want him to think he's open, for the record. I have been more than most, more than many, more than pretty much everybody, a defender of A.J. Brown. Again, as far as the book goes, if anybody's reading a book on the sideline, I don't like it. It's not an A.J. Brown thing. But A.J. Brown's attitude has been fantastic for the vast majority of this year. And I know a lot of people are trying to put the targets thing on him. A.J. Brown still had another 1,000-yard season, and he missed 4 games this year. So I think he's okay. I think what he does get concerned about is what happened in the Panthers game. And the Panthers game is haunting the season. The fact that we can nail it down to the Panthers game as the game, like one game where you were terrified about what the passing game was going to do. The fact that we really nail it down to that game tells you how good it's really been this year. Now, the Saints game wasn't really good until the end of that one. That's another one. That was early in the season. That was before the come to Jesus moment there of the bye week, right? The team meetings galore. This is before that. But when A.J. Brown is talking about passing game improving, he's talking about being open, I don't ever think it's a me first mentality in that regard. That's why, again, to reference it one more time, I didn't like the book because I thought that was a me first thing. That's what he needs. All right, let's party, whatever. But I don't doubt the effort he's ever going to give you when he goes out there on the football field. And I certainly don't think that, especially after listening to him throughout the season talk about Saquon Barkley, hey, let your cape out, man, against the Ravens. When are you going to break one? When are you going to break one? Calling Saquon Barkley the best football player in the world on the sidelines in Los Angeles. I don't think that this is a bad attitude from Jalen Hurts from A.J. Brown wanting to be more involved in the game. I think he is worried that what a lot of fans are worried about, which is at some point, you're going to have to win a game. by throwing. At some point, there's going to be a game where all this thing that worked so well, this run game, it's worked so well, it's not going to be there. You're going to reach for it, and it's not going to be there. Are you going to be ready for that moment? I think that's what's in. Excuse me. I think that's what's in A.J. Brown's mind. It's not, I better get my 10 catches. No, it's, I want to make sure that this, to use the word again, doesn't atrophy. This muscle we have of being able to throw the ball doesn't atrophy. Now, it took one bad game against the Panthers, and then next week you were able to come out against the Steelers and put up 290 yards through the air with 2 100-yard receivers. That's a good day at the office. But I think that is a concern of A.J. Brown. So health-wise, he says he feels fine. He says he was running around fine. He was open out there. As far as the passing game, I don't have the clip for you. But what he did say about the passing game is just that he's going to be optimistic about the passing game. All right, let's hope for the best when it comes to that. As far as the rest of this goes, Jalen Hurts was asked for a self-evaluation after the Packers game, and if there was anything he had out there on the field that he wishes he could have back.
I mean, I think there are some opportunities. There's always going to be something that you want back. You wish you could have done or taken advantage of. But ultimately, you know, I think we all made plays when we needed to the most, and I think that's what matters.
Fine by me. That's exactly what I expect to hear from a quarterback. Now, the thing that has become, for whatever reason, controversial. I don't know if, I think it's probably a terrible analogy, but like, if you're going into battle and there's a sword on the table and there's a dagger, you're probably going to take the sword. Okay. Well, actually, with a dagger, you have more mobility, whatever. But you're probably going to take the sword. All right. You got a great weapon there. 2 great weapons. You going into battle. All right. I'm watching a lot of medieval stuff right now, so I'm going to go ahead and just say this is a medieval war. You're probably going to take the sword, but the dagger is pretty damn good too. On this team right now, Saquon Barkley is the sword. Jalen Hurts is the dagger. The passing game is the dagger. And I think that's actually a great analogy when you talk about the clutch throws from Jalen Hurts late in games and the fourth quarter performances we've seen from him this year to ice games. That has been the dagger. Oh, there's the dagger, you know? But when you're talking about swinging a huge sword there, no pun intended, Saquon Barkley's going out there and doing that. And this run game is going out there and doing that. So that's all. If that's what it takes to win, that's the team the Eagles are going to be to win. And Jalen Hurts was asked about that yesterday when it came to doing less of the passing game and more in the run game and how that has affected him this year.
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and it's been a great journey of just evolving. You know, I was just talking to Tanner and telling him how fortunate I am to be able to learn as much ball as I've been able to learn with the different faces that I've been with. You know, you guys heard me talk about continuity so much. However, there's a backside to that, and there's an appreciation there to be able to take in as much knowledge as I can, and I think that helps me and furthers my knowledge in the game. And so it truly is about winning. It truly is about winning. I don't know. Doesn't matter how it looks. Doesn't matter how it looks. And I think people kind of winning and losing, success and failures are relative to the person, you know, and winning as a team is what's important to me.
Can someone explain to me why that's a bad thing? Because I have no idea why that's a bad thing. The other thing is the automatic first down or touchdown you have if you're 1 yard away. Like, it's almost automatic. You're 1 yard away from a first down, sometimes 2 yards away from a first down. You're 1 yard away from the end zone, and you have Jalen Hurts as your quarterback. Touchdown, first down. And it was one of my favorite things Nick Sirianni's ever said, and I wish he'd say it again because it's worth repeating, that you only have 1st and 9. You never have 1st and 10. When you have a play like that with players like this, you never have a 1st and 10. You only have a 1st and 9. Like, that is a flex upon flexes. That's another thing that Jalen Hurts brings to the table, but because it's not a throw, people don't give a damn about it. You have an automatic play with your quarterback? Yeah, okay. I think anybody would take that. I know I would. I love the idea that it's so the focus is I'm in the sidecar. I'm the side the sideshow here, whatever. I'm not the main act. I'm the opener, if you will. It doesn't faze him. Since when does that become a bad thing from a quarterback? Would you rather him have the attitude of, well, I got to get mine? Like, would you rather him to have a diva mentality, or would you rather him go, oh, look, the team is winning? This guy's having a historical, he's doing something that only 8 other running backs have done in the history of the NFL, run for 2,000 yards. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and ride that wave. I don't see the negative in that at all. Here's what I do understand. I understand where you might expect with a run game like this, where your passing game would be, middle of the pack in terms of production, not in terms of efficiency, but just in terms of overall quantity. I understand why you might think, okay, it should be middle of the pack, but bottom 3, that's a little concerning. You never want to see a team with this kind of quarterback or with your quarterback be in the bottom 3 in the NFL, 4 really in the NFL. You don't want to see that. But as the counter, you better be winning a ton of games, check. You're, of course, going to be making the playoffs if you do that, check. And your quarterback better be clutch as hell when they need him, check. So I know this season is weird for a lot of people to be like, wow, what is this, 1993? What are we doing, running the football so much here? But yeah, be fine with it. 1995, I think would be more accurate with Ricky Wooders. But yeah, I'm fine with it because the Eagles are winning football games and their quarterback isn't causing a storm about it. Last thing from Jalen Hurts. I left the whole thing in here. I think it's Martin Frank of Delco Times. Teams scheming to take Saquon away and how that affects the offense.
Everyone that they've been able to be around, all the teammates.
When you see teams trying to take away Saquon Barkley, which obviously has happened from, they've tried from time to time. How, do you feel the answers as far as accounting for that, how you guys are able to adjust, in game, mid game, and everything to account for that?
Yeah, I don't think kind of loaded a little bit. I don't think that there's been a game where he's been taken away.
Right, but they try to.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
They try, He's a great player, and I think we complement each other well, and he's been able to just get dirty yards, and soon enough he pops one off, and so that's been a big part of our success this year as a team, and that's a credit to everyone playing a role in that. Blocking out wide, holding backside players, off of a fake, a down block or a pull, or the identification up front, and everyone being on the same page.
Yeah. Certainly looks like everybody's on the same page here. I don't think you can stop Saquon Barkley is more or less his response. I also love his response where some might say he's taking a little bit of credit for it, but I don't take it that way. I take it as this is how football's played, and he's stating the obvious here. When Jalen Hurts is out there, Saquon Barkley has averaged a full yard more than when Tanner McKee or Kenny Pickett's been out there. Per carry, that is. You have that downbeat if you're an edge rusher of going, oh, is Saquon taking it or is Jalen Hurts keeping it? That helps the run game tremendously. So that's what he's saying when we complement each other well. Also, forget about even running the football. Even on the rare play action moment where you're putting that ball in the belly of Saquon Barkley and then pulling it and then hitting A.J. Brown on a slant or Devontae Smith on a slant or Dallas Goedert on a rub route, whatever, that's a wonderful play. And to me, those are things that the Eagles can't run enough of. Tight end screens, I'm okay. Even though the game-winning play, or excuse me, the game-icing play in my mind here against the Packers was what ended up being, wasn't so much a screen as much as was one guy blocking, but Dallas Goedert shifting up the line of scrimmage. A.J. Brown making a great block, and then Dallas Goedert just adopting Carrington Valentine for 20 yards for the touchdown. those plays, the rub routes, the slant routes, I'd love to see more of in this offense. I talked yesterday about a stretch play. Like, can I get a stretch play with this? I think this offense would kill with a stretch play. Really, a deep play action play. That would be marvelous to see, and I want to see that. But him acknowledging how he helps the run game and complements Saquon Barkley is just truth. He's just spewing truth. The idea of not stopping Saquon Barkley, if you haven't done the numbers this year outside the 2,005 yards, now including the playoffs, Saquon's had 12 100 rushing yard games. That's pretty good. He's had 7 125-plus rushing games. That's pretty good. And, of course, his best game was against this Rams team in Week 12 when he put up 255 yards on the ground alone and over 300 yards through the air. 302, I think is what he got to, and 3 touchdowns. That's a good day. That's a real good day. I like that day. So if that's working, you're not going to get away from it. The only games where he didn't perform very well, the Browns game, he had 47 yards. He averaged 2.6 yards per carry. Against the Steelers, most recently, 65 yards against the Steelers on 3.4 yards per carry. He also had 2 catches in that game, but that's when the passing game was cooking. So whatever. And also, I mentioned the Browns, 66 yards against the Dallas Cowboys, and your passing game also did pretty well. 34-6 victory in that one. So you're also talking about games where you're not really playing in the fourth quarter either. Stopping Saquon, yeah, you can contain him, but it only takes one. And even in that Steelers game, with as well as the Eagles were playing as a passing offense, even in that Browns game, even against the Cowboys, like that Cowboys game where he only had 66 yards, his long was 11 yards in that game. Like he's going to have games like that. And that's the concern going into the postseason. It's that, or in the postseason now, it's that, hey, sooner or later, whether it's here against the Rams, or maybe it's next week against the Lions or Commanders, or it's in the Super Bowl, because that's how close the Eagles are to it, you're going to need to throw the football. You're going to have moments like you did against the Steelers. You're going to have moments like you had against the Cowboys. You're going to have moments like you had against the Cleveland Browns, where you didn't throw the ball that well. Or excuse me, you didn't run the ball that well, and you're going to need to throw it. That's the concern with people. But Jalen saying, yeah, that's fine. I mean, you got to go ahead and try to stop them. And while they're stacking the box, hopefully that's opening up things on the outside and downfield for you. On that note, Nick Sirianni yesterday was asked about the type of team this is and the passing numbers being down so much and why that is. And it's because it's because of the run game.
Question. I think what we do is we do whatever we need to do to win each and every game. And so if that means you're in a 2 minute to end the game and you got to throw it like we did against New Orleans to get the ball down into the position to score, you do that. If you're in a position where you're in a 4 minute at the end of the game and you're running out the clock to do whichever you need to do to win the game in that particular one, and you're running it well, then you do those things. And so I think that's just the nature of how that's went. And again, I think anytime that you have won whatever 13, 14 or 14, 15, whatever it is, your quarterback's going to be playing well.
And what do you know? You have tremendous efficiency from Jalen Hurts when he is running the football. You have tremendous efficiency from Jalen Hurts when he's throwing the football, as evidenced by his completion percentage and his passer rating. And all he wants to do is win, and that's what the Eagles have done. Yep, this guy sucks, obviously. Can't wait for the next guy. Would rather have Justin Herbert. If I didn't make the decree on this show already, can we stop with the Justin Herbert stuff? Like I said this before the season. I don't even hate Justin Herbert. I'm just like, how do so many people have him in the top, 8? How many have it? Why are we? What's going on? And I know he had drops. I know the one interception was not his fault. I know, but there's 4 interceptions. He also threw across his body across the field, which is, I don't think so. But yeah, so can we stop with the slander and all this nonsense? And Nick, I think, is of the same mentality of Jalen Hurts, and this is potentially what they came to agreement on during the bye week, which was, we know what we have here, right? We have Barry Sanders behind the Cowboys' offensive line. That's what we have. That thing that everyone dreamed about in the 90s, that's what we have now. Like, imagine if Barry Sanders had the Cowboys' offensive line. Oh, my God. That's what the Eagles have right now. So use the hell out of it until they stop it or until they contain it. And then play action, make it happen. The turnovers. I don't remember the final count. And Jeff McClain, even when he was asking the question, I think he said 25 turnovers in 21 games. I thought it was 22. I'll err on the side of more games. But Jeff McClain asked the question during the press conference yesterday of just how Jalen has protected the football and how it's been an incredible turnaround for Jalen Hurts this year in terms of turnovers. First game of the season obviously had you worried. The last time I was really concerned about it was his fumble with Levante David against the Buccaneers in week 4. But really, ever since then, it has not been a huge concern, and it has not been a problem for this Eagles offense. So Nick Sirianni got asked about the turnaround from Jalen Hurts. And some people will take this as a negative. But here is Nick Sirianni talking about Jalen Hurts' play and Jalen Hurts protecting the football.
14.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, isn't it? It's pretty impressive by him of being able to lead us to wins while also taking care of the football. That's not and be explosive and still take care of the football. That's not easy to do because we talk about that a lot. How do you win the double positive? How do you win the explosive play battle? And how do you win the turnover battle? And everybody's got hard jobs. That's a very hard job for a quarterback to be able to create explosive plays and do the things that Jalen's done while also taking care of the football with running it and throwing it. So just unbelievable effort and concentration on his part of going where the right place with the football, while also when he is a runner protecting the football like Saquon does or like AJ does. And so I can't give him enough credit for that because that's very difficult, and it's really, when you win the turnover battle in this league, and it really dictates one of the best stat indicators of what's going to happen in the game.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts has found some way, somehow, to not turn the football over as much. And it's not just because, look, I know a lot of people will jump to, oh, well, he doesn't throw the ball enough to have turnovers. Yeah, but when he does, is he putting the precious pigskin in peril? Oh, he's not? Only 5 picks this year? That's pretty good. Now, the negative side of this is what people will say. And I referenced this yesterday in terms of Donovan McNabb, and people said about Donovan at the time, he doesn't throw interceptions because he never takes risks. He never throws a 50-50 ball. I'm like, well, he's also really good at throwing the football downfield. But with Jalen Hurts, he takes calculated risks if he takes risks. And if he is running, he's protecting the football. I wish he'd protect himself a little bit more, like slide every time. Instead of most of the time, slide every time. Not just give himself up with a headfirst dive, but slide. And he has been able to throw the deep ball for a long time now. So now I've never understood that. Like ever since his first year as a starter, second year as a starter, the conversation about him throwing the ball downfield is just, it's not, he can do it. He can air it out. So that doesn't make any sense to me. And I loved earlier in the season when John McMullen said to him, was it the Steelers game? I think it was before the Steelers game. You throw the ball downfield so well, and Jalen goes, I'm sorry, what? Could you say that again? Because I never get credit for that. He can do it all. Read the defense. Everyone says he can't read the defense. Somehow he knew Dallas Goedert was going to be ready for that play. Somehow he knew that was going to be the perfect call against that defense. I know that the quarterback is always a lightning rod conversation topic or conversation point in Philadelphia. Is he the guy? Is he not the guy? He's the guy. Like, that's not a conversation anymore. Yeah, but there's like 3 guys that had over him. Oh, interesting. Okay. Because Patrick Mahomes is the guy. I guess he's the only guy in the NFL. Because Jalen's not too far behind that. Not too far behind that spot. The number 1 spot. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think Patrick Mahomes is miles ahead of everyone in the NFL. But when it comes to just ranking them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, Jalen's in my top 5 without question. And I know teams win games, but this quarterback puts him in a pretty damn good position to win games too. So kind of want Jalen Hurts to be here for a long time. And I love how this is bothering my man Seth Joyner so much, and I can't wait to tee him up for it on pregame at Parks Casino on Sunday before the 3 o'clock kickoff. I can't wait because Seth is I think he's going to be raring to go. That's what I had for you yesterday in the locker room, whether it was press conferences, whether it was media sessions. And what else did I have from yesterday? Yeah, that's pretty much all I got out of it. Lane's ready to party, as you would assume. Oh, he was asked. Jalen Hurts was asked yesterday about more throws to A.J. Brown. And he's like, I want to get everybody involved. So, political answer there. Right answer there as well. Oh, he was asked about rhythm. This is something a lot of people talk about. Like, yeah, you got to get Jalen into a rhythm. You know? What does it take for you to get into a rhythm? He said it's different every game. It's all about winning. Fair enough. Screen game. Said he has no assessment. How would you assess the screen game? I have no assessment. We do other things. All right. I still would love a good screen every once in a while. That's good. So, yeah, that's what I got out of yesterday's media sessions and press conferences. The Philadelphia 76ers lost 125-119 to the I almost called them Brooklyn Nets, to the New York Knicks. Joel Embiid did not play. Paul George played. Paul George played well for the most part. Tyrese Maxey played very well in the second half, 27 of his 33 points in the second half. But Jalen Brunson was 14 of 22 from the floor, 7 of 9 from the free throw lines, 3 of 6 from the three-point line for a game-high 38 points on the Sixers. In total, 6 Knicks finished in double figures in scoring, including 23 by McCall Bridges. As for your Sixers, 4 Sixers scored in double digits. Justin Edwards being one of them with 35 minutes, 10 points in the game last night. Paul George, 26 points. Actually, I mentioned 33. Eric Gordon, 14. Kelly Oubre, 16. Eric Gordon back in the starting lineup again for the second straight game. Your center was Gershon Yabusele, and the Sixers essentially went with 2 small forwards in the starting lineup with Kelly Oubre and Paul George. Swingmen, 2 swingmen, I should say. Yeah, 2 small forwards. It wasn't great. They fought, but they fell. And they fell in overtime, and they ran out of gas. But I mentioned this at the start of the show. Doris Burke asked a great question, or made a great statement, I should say, about the 76ers and how the city of Philadelphia feels about the 76ers right now. She said, I don't know how to describe the feelings of Philadelphia towards the 76ers right now. So I asked on X, and 80 people responded. And they were so good, I even later added Doris Burke. And I said, hey, you asked a good question. These are the other people I answered. My man Ari just tweeted me a GIF of Swoop from the Eagles. And I found that hilarious because it's like, hey, how do you feel about the Sixers? Go Birds. That tells you all you need to know. My man Ruin Today. I don't know why this analogy is so great, but Ruin Today, it's only Joe is his name on Twitter now. Sixers reminded me of a former coworker that would put air into his car tires at the end of every shift because once a month he got his tires from a nearby junkyard since he didn't want to pay for new tires. I don't know why, but that's a perfect analogy, I feel, in this scenario. Michael KB, friend of the show. Got to get Michael KB on again. Got to get these guys on. Apathy is set in. I agree. You guys have heard me use that word as well. Deplorable Barbie. Love you, Tor. Bamboozled. That's a good one. Sean H is the one that tweeted, I don't care. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. I can't help but to read things. If you're going to tweet me memes of Hulk Hogan, then Dom, I'm going to go ahead and read it. I'm burnt out, brother. That's good. Fake Coatsy. Nice to hear from you. Apathetic. If they don't care, neither do I. Irrelevant says Phillies Bell. All right. I'm seeing a lot of apathy. Fracture is a good one. Crazy gave me the Star Wars thing. I hate you. Who are the Sixers was another good one. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones. Philly's finest beer can just tweeted me the picture of Donovan throwing up against the Buccaneers in Tampa. I'll never forget that. If the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of what's the name of that movie? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood existed, was like, oh, right there. Oh, if that existed, I think every fan in that game where McNabb threw up against the Buccaneers in Tampa, every fan, he definitely did it in the Super Bowl. The Who is another one, obligatory. I guess because you're in Philly and you guys got to watch them. Lottery pick. Joe Smoot just gave me the fans with paper bags on their heads. Well, this is another great one. Tom McConney put it out there saying the gif of throwing a tennis ball by a dog and the dog just ignores it. So anyway, you get the idea. Nobody's happy with the Sixers right now. Nobody's happy with the Sixers right now. Disgust. Yeah, this is where we're at right now. Thanks everyone who participated in that little exercise we had yesterday online. Okay. I thought I had a typo. Somebody scared the hell out of me. I had in my headline for the show, obviously, I have, but is Jalen Hurts the guy? And somebody said he's certainly a guy. I'm like, did I just put a guy? Did I have a typo? No, I did not. Yes. What a feeling of relief. Hey, before we get to the chat, let me tell you about the great people at the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to the comedy show? Game Time app's where it's at. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Don't forget about Game Time Picks. Game Time Picks allows you to filter out all that fluff so you get right down to it. Literally saves you from scrolling through thousands of tickets. You just get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices on the Game Time app when you use the Game Time Picks feature. You can also use the all-in pricing feature, which allows you to see exactly what you're paying before you check out, so there's no guesswork. You can also view your seat before you buy it. How great is that? So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about Sky Motorcars? SkyMotorcars.com. Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you beautiful people are doing on this fine Thursday morning already. Holy Stromboli, this week is flying by. And thank goodness gracious that it is, because I have been ready for some football for quite some time. April, Wine Niners Wine. Good morning. April, hello again. EM, ha, 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 ha. EM, morning, everyone. Thank you, EM. JB, good morning. Ike O. Jalen Hurts is not the guy. Laugh out loud. He's not the best player on the offense, and he's afforded to be mediocre, and the team still wins. So they win in spite of him. So this guy who's done nothing but win for like 3 straight years, last year's end, included, it sucked. They're going to acknowledge that. But this guy's done it for 3 years, and he sucks. Saquon wasn't here those 2 other years. He's been an MVP candidate, so this is not an accurate comment. Not an accurate comment. Does anyone have a few eggs I could borrow? What? Oh, what? Are we throwing them? I don't know. Oh, yeah, never mind. Found one. Oh, crap. Hold on. That's Farzi's head. Hey. It's not even egg right now because I haven't shaved in a couple days. Just letting myself go. Wait, 3 years ago, more like 20 years ago, same McNabb BS? What? I'm sorry, Ian. I don't understand what that's in reference. I certainly didn't mention McNabb was 3 years ago. Literally just said that. I don't know. I'm out. I'm lost. Sorry, Ian. My apologies. That's me being lost. That's nothing on you. I bet that Sierra would. Tate Jeffries. I bet Sierra would have had a different answer if asked. They want to come here now. True. Want to hang out in Philly or Pittsburgh? I want to hang out in Philly. What's up, Mr. Salmon? Jalen Hurts is a leader and a winner. Everyone thinks they can stop him, but he keeps winning. We need 2022 Jalen Hurts to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. Yeah, you could. Or you could just keep dominating with running the football. But I do have confidence that if the Eagles do need to shift to become the passing team and have success passing, that they could do it. And I've said that throughout the season. He's not respected by AJ. That's obvious. It could be. Stats don't lie, but they may. They may deceive. Thank you. Imagine Edelman or Marvin Harrison reading a book during the game. They wouldn't get the ball thrown their way for 3 weeks. See, that's exactly. You put Edelman in, you put it in anybody's hands. I don't like it. I don't even like if Lane Johnson was caught on the sideline, I wouldn't like it. It's got nothing to do with the fact that it's AJ Brown. It's got more to do with the fact that your teammates are out there playing and you're, well, this is interesting. Teammates apparently think it's funny, so that's fine. I can say aesthetically, I don't like something. I like his explanation. I like everything he said since. I still don't like that it happened. Oh, Gannett didn't make the postseason. That's true. Eric Wisniewski, hello. Next game, I want 270 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. This will give me confidence in Hurts. Okay. Oh, is this about Maxey? Teams regarding him like a number one? Yeah. That's the other thing. Tyrese Maxey, to shift to basketball, Tyrese Maxey has never been, not since probably, no, not even. Like this is the most that's ever been asked of Tyrese Maxey. Obviously, hey, prove that you could play in the NBA as a rookie. He proved that. Actually played well in the playoffs, too, in the rare opportunities that he got. Hey, take over for Ben Simmons. Did that. Hey, play with James Harden. Sure. Become the most improved player, become an all-star. He's done that. But now, with hardly ever having Joel Embiid, he's being asked to be the number one guy. It's a different ballgame for Tyrese Maxey. Hey, I would have loved for Tyrese Maxey to knock down some of those open threes that he had, especially in the fourth quarter, early going into the fourth quarter, where the Sixers had an opportunity to take the lead. And he unfortunately bricked them. But the way he played, I think it was 7 points in the final 36 seconds for Tyrese Maxey. That's pretty damn good. I want that guy on my team. Just wanted to check the Eagles line one more time. I think it's still at -6. Why is this being stupid? Stop being stupid. All right, we'll get back to that. Sixers need to rebuild again. Yeah. EM, my feeling towards the stadium is thank God it isn't anywhere other than South Philly. I'd never take my kids and wife on a subway at midnight after a game for obvious reasons. Sure. That was something I brought up. Even as a pro stadium downtown guy, I was like, yeah, I love it. If you're telling me generally I get a downtown stadium, great. What are you doing about traffic? How are people getting to Jefferson Hospital? And hold on a second. You're not going to give $21 million more dollars to SEPTA so they can have more trains running and everything? All right. Seems a little half-baked to everybody. Why is this being weird? Stop being weird, you big dummy. Anyway. All right. Love Trot Jr. does the axe chop like his old man after a big play. Goldsmith Grady, does Philly just hate quarterbacks? Or is it just majorly people of unnecessary pressure to be the standard of what we've seen from other teams and what like Brady, Mahomes, and Manning? I don't know. That's a $64 million question, $64 million question. Shayna, good morning. Shayna Moon. Sixers should just play their young core players. Tank away. Drew, Jalen could win the Super Bowl this year, and some Eagles fans will mention how lackluster our passing game was. I don't want to say who told me this because whatever, he's the national guy and whatever. I remember after the Super Bowl, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and his thing was, I've never heard of a sore winner. And I was like, that is hilarious. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. Chris Collinsworth is a jerk. Mike Vrabel expected to trade. Yep. Thank you, Sean Kilrain. Hello, Sean Kilrain. I have never seen AJ cry about anything. Gatekeeper, I'm with you. Yes, Sean Kilrain, I'm on with you guys. Monday. Look forward to that in the 6 o'clock hour. You know why people say Justin Herbert? Because they think he can play with this team. I don't like Justin Herbert's a good quarterback, but seeing him consistently in like top 6 in the NFL, I'm like, okay, there. Let's pump the brakes. Brian Palmer, hello. Wine Niners Wine, hello. Twiz, what's up, Twiz? Hurts is frustrating as hell to watch, no doubt. And we should be this inept on offense, but somehow he makes some plays to get the job done. Yeah, because he's a good quarterback. All right, now things get a little contentious here for a second. Breeze past that. JB, Sixers need to invest in a jump to conclusions mat. Maybe that'll give him some answers. It's a mat where you jump to conclude. It's got different conclusions on it that you jump to. That's great. Thank you for that, JB. Twiz, hello again. Rocky, hello. Philly D, what's going on? People being nasty. Put McKee in now, and let's see what's going to happen. No, what are we talking about, McKee? All right, thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars. Sky Motorcars, skymotocars.com. Sixers back at it Saturday night against the Pacers in Indiana. 7 o'clock tip-off. I will not be doing a postcast after that one. Taking that night off, but enjoy. And Flyers are back at it tomorrow night, I believe. Or they dropped the puck tonight. No, it's tonight. Islanders. 7:30 puck drop in New York against the Islanders. So enjoy all that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. There'll be another locker room session today. Look forward to following that. And I'll watch that today instead of tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging in there for the late start time earlier today. I do appreciate it, everybody. Be back with you guys tomorrow. See you guys then. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Thursday. See you guys tomorrow morning.